If you don't know me, can I just say before I start that I'm crazy? I want permission to be myself 100%. And I'm a freaking weirdo. I'm a weird, goofy mother effer. And I curse a lot too. I curse a lot. I'm weird. And sometimes I speak very fast. Sometimes I speak very slow. This is just a warning in case this is dissatisfying to you, to your sensibilities. Any fucking way. I want to talk about dating, but dating due to this topic that one of my subscribers, and I hope he's still subscribed to me, because I told him a long time ago that I would talk about this topic, and I never did. And he asked me to talk about men going their own way. And I know here's the thing, black kid with glasses, it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like a lot of black dudes don't know what that is. Because I'm just speaking for many black dudes. I don't know what kind of environment you grew up that you're in where this is a thing. Because in my experience, I'm an old ass man now, but dudes had it pretty good. We ain't feel oppressed in the least. We didn't feel, if anything, other guys were fucking it up. So, okay, let me just clarify something for people who are like, what the hell am I talking about? Men going their own way is this movement amongst many males where they feel they have some grievances with society and with women, where they feel like they're, and I'm simplifying it. I apologize if this is an oversimplification or if I'm not saying this correctly. But men going their own way, the movement, the essence of it is that they feel emasculated to some degree. They feel pressured unjustifiably in some ways. They feel emotionally, psychologically castrated. They want to go their own way. They want to be their own brand of masculine without feeling guilty about it. Okay? I feel like that's fair. And the way I grew up was, look, man, hyper masculine as New Orleans, I started out as a very nice, gentlemanly kind of guy, and I still am. But I ain't gonna lie, like, whatever that was in me that was, let's say, classically male, it definitely got amplified growing up in the circumstances I grew up around. And like, just to even get a girl, I had to like step up my manliness, quote unquote. You know, I've been told by girls I'm too goofy, I'm too this, I'm too that, and I had to man it up. And like, this is I feel like what I'm being now, which is my natural, completely, utterly natural self. This is motherfucking man enough. But what they felt at the time, what they thought to be manly was kind of, you turn it down and you gotta just be like this, and you can't really show no emotion, you can't really show any kind of fluctuation in mood, you know, you just gotta be like this. Fuck all that. Here's the thing, that little act I just did just now, that's actually how I am sometimes. Many times throughout the week I am that way naturally. I'm like, yeah, it's like just low energy, laid back, nonchalant. That is me. It's just I want to be that if I feel like being that, and I don't want to be that if I don't feel like being that. And so I know how it feels to feel like you're being pressured to adjust yourself for the sake of others. And that's why I worship at the altar of authenticity, because I value my internal freedom like nothing else. And my internal freedom, which then becomes which then breeds this kind of outward display that you're seeing right now. And so I can understand the sentiment of men going their own way, but I did not grow up oppressed like that, from other, feeling as though women were the issue. But I take that back. I did feel women were the issue. I take that all the way back. Everybody was the fucking issue, to be honest. It was all fucked up. It was like, you know what it is? It was like a half and half thing. Amongst dudes, there was this dumbass standard way of behaving, this limitation of conversation. You know, if you're in a car with a bunch of dudes, it wasn't the most appropriate thing to play R&B music, that kind of thing. We all listen to motherfucking R&B music. All of us loved it. We all loved it. Well, you know, many of us anyway. But you know, we were very homophobic. You know, get that gay ass shit out of here, stuff like that. And on the woman and on the female's part, their guilt in this is that, like, a dude who had, if my 17-year-old self acted like how I'm acting right now, it just, a lot of times it was a turnoff. Like I just did that caricature that a lot of them demanded that in order to get a lot of the girls that you wanted to get, you had to become another person. Okay? And it's still like that today with all kinds of things. A lot of people are not who they authentically are in order to get a job, in order to get a friend, in order to get a significant other. So that's been going on for a minute. And it's unfortunate. But I understand the essence and the spirit of men going their own way. And I feel like if, as a male, if you ain't hurting nobody, if you ain't physically doing nothing to a female, if you're not oppressing a woman in any kind of way, you shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel self-conscious of your masculinity. And I think it is that simple. I've never been approached about my maleness before, to be honest. And so I don't know how that feels. I don't know how I'd react if somebody told me, if a woman said that I was, like, if she told me that I was being toxic, I would just have to process it and wonder and just distill the components of what I said or what I was doing, and I'd try to reasonably come to that conclusion as to whether or not, am I being toxic? So if I'm being toxic, I'm being toxic. If I'm being an asshole male, I'm being an asshole male. But if I'm not, I'm fucking not. And I'm not gonna act like I am to please somebody's sensitivity, over sensitivity, because I actually do want to accommodate people socially, you know. And I'm jumping to shit, man. I gotta jump to other topics, but you know, because we have financial responsibility, fiscal responsibility, financial stability. This is commonsensical wisdom, right? We understand these things to be important, but we have no social responsibility. Or rather, when it comes to social responsibility, we get very impatient and we're like, ugh. Like, I used to say the word midget, and I learned through this show, it was like Little People, not Little People Big World, that show Little People in Hollywood or something, where they were being just as dramatic as like Basketball Wives and all that. I learned that on one of those episodes a long time ago when I was watching TV, that the midgets like the N-word to them, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that word had that much offensive potency. So I'm not saying that shit no more. I'm not gonna say that word no more. And I don't feel as if they're trampling upon my freedom, my social freedom. I don't want to be called the damn N-word. They don't want to be called the damn N-word, and that makes sense because the midget is especially been appropriated and has been used by non-little people mostly to be derogatory. I can't knock that. And so, you know, if a woman is saying that, like, what are women saying right now? Other than, because right now with the Me Too movement and whatnot, women they're uncomfortable. Like, assault, absolutely, get that shit out of here. Don't assault anybody. But like, what's some of the subtle things, like hugging? Okay, there is a kind of attack on hugging now. You know, it is kind of like, oh, you can't hug people. It's like, I gotta be worried about hugging people now. But you know, some women and some dudes, you never know what happened to them in their past. And I do want to be sensitive to people's trauma. And as much as reasonably possible, man. Like I'm not about to. I do have my limitations with what I'm willing to do, but all I'm saying is that if it makes sense, it makes sense, and we shouldn't get disgruntled and bent out of shape just because it seems like it's one more thing that we're not supposed to do. But when it comes to, but I know I have ADD. When it comes to men going their own way, I understand the essence of it. I really do. I just don't, personally speaking, I have yet to feel the pain and anguish from being from women sort of being uncomfortable with something I do. I love women. I have a really good relationship with women, and I prefer to be around. I was just telling my boy the other day, like I got like so there's the dudes close to me. The dudes close to me transcend maleness. Like my best friend, for instance, my best friend who is my brother from another mother. I talk to him like fucking 4 days out the week, man, and at least once out the 2 to 4 times, or 2-3 hour conversations. And it's not like I'm on the phone with the dude, even though we both clearly have some stereotypical dude statements that we make about certain things. But it's just like, this is just this dope human being that I'm friends with. And when it comes to hanging around normal dudes, though, whose dudeness colors, when you hang around the average guy, a lot of the average guys are so insecure with their masculinity that they're making every effort to prove their masculinity. And that's exhausting. I'd rather not be around dudes. That was my point. Like, I'd rather be around the dudes who don't who, it's not even like you're around a dude. Because when you're around a dude, it's too dudish. I'd rather be around, like, if it's a get together, a lot of times, or my family gatherings, I'd rather be around little kids, because I still have a big kid in me, and I don't want to get rid of the kid. There's something powerful and beautiful and spiritual about that childlike energy. I'd rather play around, mess around, run around with the damn children, or be around the women folk. Because you know why? Because women, and I don't even mean because I'm trying to get them or something like that, but women just so much more naturally vulnerable, in my experience. When I talk with them, they maybe this is not how it is for many of you. Maybe y'all feel like women are this and that, but when I'm around women and I'm talking to women, I feel like they just open up, man. And it's like they see how my defenses are down and I come in peace, and they see that I'm harmless, and they just are way more willing, in my experience, to engage at a very thoughtful, warm level. And their presence for me, is just much more comforting and just attractive. Not even on like on a sexual level necessarily. I'm sure that the sexual element is underlying at all times some kind of way, but it's not even about that. I'd rather their presence just because of their fragility. And I like to be uninhibited to where I essentially have a kind of fragility myself. With dudes, you gotta walk on eggshells a lot of times, because a lot of dudes, especially straight dudes, it's just this homophobia. Like, I'd rather be around a gay dude. That's the other thing. Like, a gay dude is better. A gay dude that's insecure. I mean, that is secure. A gay dude that is secure. Cause like, again, like straight males, in my experience, man, they just subtly, sometimes it's very subtle. They gotta let you know, man. It's this competitive element that I'm not interested in. I'm trying to relax socially. So, and it's limited subject matter. And it's not all straight dudes, by the way. A lot of straight dudes are on the shit that I'm on, but I'm just saying, more often than not, you get the cliche, stereotypical male experience. But yeah, don't Black Kid with Glasses, the guy who asked me about men going their own way, don't let it don't feel like you have to soften yourself up, or like I remember when I had first gotten in a relationship, I almost fell prey to what I call wife voice. You know what I'm saying? And that is where like your girl is she's upset with you, or yeah, she's upset with you for something, something's going on, and you know, I would then adjust my voice like this. I mean, I didn't do this, but I almost did this. But then you start talking like, well, like, what do you mean? What's wrong, baby? It's so what would you like me to do? Fuck that. No, I'm sure men going their own way would applaud me in that respect. But no, I'm not. I'm going to speak to you normally. And like, I don't give if you, because there's been times when my girl had, like in the very beginning of my relationship, when she interpreted my normal voice as some kind of threatening. But you got to get over that. You got to get over that, because I'm not being threatening. Now, I mean, right, the way I'm talking right now is very impassioned and hype. But I mean, like, if I'm just speaking like this and I have a natural kind of bass to my voice, then you're going to have to just fucking accept it, man. I'm not adjusting it. I do it in, like, again, in previous work environments with certain bosses and shit, having to, I have to adjust myself with dudes more than women. Because dudes get very insecure when you use the full power of your voice and speak normally sometimes, especially when they're in positions of management. But especially when they are already insecure mother effers. But you know, I actually wanted to talk about dating when I first hit the record button, and it got away from me. I wanted to talk about dating because a lot of people, I realized that a lot of people that lend their ear to whatever the hell I talk about are much younger than me. Again, I'm an old man. I'm 32, and they, I feel like, kind of along the lines of the men going their own way kind of movement thing. Dudes don't feel like they could be a man when they approach women, or they don't even know how to approach women no more. Period. Now, because of some females taking full advantage of the Me Too movement and whatnot, and them, like, let's say something like, I can't think, like in the Aziz Ansari example, where it just seemed like, if I remember correctly, I read the article on what he did and whatnot, and it was just like, really, like that's assault, or that's bad. What did he do? They just had like a bad date. The date just didn't really go well, or I remember one where like the one girl suggested it's rape if the dude keeps trying to, and I'm about to get very crude, I guess. Can I get crude? Just turn it off if you don't want me to, okay? Okay. Like you're trying to get the girls out, you're trying to have sex with the girl. I guess I'm not gonna be crude. You're trying to have sex with her, and you're trying to persuade her, and you're not touching. There's no force. There's no force involved. But you keep she's like, I don't know. Like, no, I don't know. And you're like, come on. That somebody called that circumstance. They call that coercion. I saw that on Facebook. They said that kind of example is some kind of assault. And I was like, y'all gotta fucking knock it off. And I see how a dude could feel insecure, feel self-conscious at all times. If you are a considerate guy, I can see how you would be like, damn, what can I do? Because that has nothing to do with you grabbing her. Now, that's just pure words, and there's no threat. It's just you basically being vocally persistent. And someone suggested, and this was like it was like this thing that was liked a lot too. Someone said, and I know, here's the thing. I know a lot of women don't feel this way, by the way. I know that a lot of women think that's nonsense, but they wouldn't say it because they don't want to get the full force of the public court of the court of public opinion on them. But I know it's rough, but I'll tell you what, man. What I've learned when it comes to dating, and I'm not saying this bragging wise, I've been with many women, I'm like, I shouldn't say I've been with many women. That doesn't sound right. I pursued many ladies in my life, and can I just say that, like, I tell you, there's nothing better than just being you. There's nothing more free for your own self. First of all, girls like you more when you are yourself. Trust me on that, because if you are unapologetically you, that 100% indicates confidence. Like, there's been a couple of times, for instance, when a girl complimented me on my confidence, and I remember like several times saying, or those couple of times saying, especially that I said I'm not really. It's not that I'm confident, but I'm just confident in the fact that I'm not confident. And what I mean by that is I'm just accepting of the fact that I'm a awkward, insecure son of a bitch, and that's okay. And that is essentially, but that's confidence though. A lot of times the implication, what we take from confidence, what we presume what we should be if we're to be confident, is that we have to not be insecure, is that we can't be self-conscious, that we can't have any flaws. Like, we need to be delusional to some degree. We need to push past our knowledge of what's wrong with us, of our weirdness, our goofiness. We need to push past that so that we might be this heroic figure in the wake of a beautiful woman. But nah, man, be insecure as you want to be. I tell you, people respect you admitting you're a piece of shit, or that you suck, or that you have myriad flaws. They respect it. They respect it because you know what? Because even though in our daily life we might all be full of shit, or we might all observe how everyone else is full of shit, or again, we might be the ones participating in it. We know what the deal is, man. We know. We see. Everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. And as I said in the Instagram video before, it's not about sucking. And by the way, I remember a homophobic dude, when I was talking about this. Why you gotta use the word suck, man? Like, man, you don't get that fucking insecure. Like, I'm not one of these pause dudes. These dudes who say, hey, man, we all suck. Pause. I think that is just so childish and so immature, so insecure. That's not how. I mean, that's just a testament to something very, very unhealthy psychologically in our culture, that we have to say pause and no homo, like, no homo at first, but now it's pause. And like, yo, man, like, you really think that somebody's gonna presume, or that somebody could justifiably presume, based off of you using a word like just suck in a completely non-sexual context, based off that they could connect the dots and see that you're gay? Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Are we children? Anyway, but yeah, man, it's acknowledging your insecurities is fucking sexy. And so, but what's the goal here is always, though, or what makes you attractive to me is not necessarily just acknowledging the flaw, because some people acknowledge their flaws and they don't do a damn thing about it. It's when you're trying. It's so hard. The only reason why I can comfortably admit my weaknesses is because I know that I'm trying my hardest to do something about it. I wouldn't be comfortable admitting all of my shortcomings and flaws if I did not have a stone-clad resolve to fix them. And that's what I advise for anybody listening to this. This has been so ADD-ish. I just can't. I'm just taking a crack at recording by myself. That's why I need someone to play off of, man, to talk with. Okay, lastly, let me just address women and y'all on the dating scene. Let me give y'all just a suggestion, because I see a lot of young women having a lot of trouble with these dudes, and y'all got a lot of heartache. Y'all gonna get a lot of heartache. I see a lot of I've talked personally with many guys who, it's so obvious to me that, and it's not because they're so obvious to me, because it's so obvious to me because I'm just a genius and nothing like that. It's not that. But it's so obvious to me upon just having a conversation with them that they are not what that girl thinks they are. Like when they're with the chick, when they're with the woman, and I could even be close to the girl, and I meet the dude. And this is more so a long time ago, especially not anytime recently has this happened, but ask questions, young ladies. Ask these guys questions. Y'all be wanting to believe a guy is way more awesome than he is just because he's a certain height, just because he has a certain job, and it really just because he's a certain kind of handsome, or just because he made you feel a certain kind of good, especially in the bedroom. Look, man, check it out. Like, it's funny because dudes don't trip. Dudes trip about dudes want sex, but I don't know any guy, and that shows you the difference how our relationship to sex, as the difference between men and women. I don't know any guy who would be with a woman who is just unbearable because she has good sex. I don't know any dude who would. I'm just saying, like, it's funny because sex is like so important to a guy, but I never met a dude, personally speaking, no dudes I know, I'm sure they exist, no dudes I know are so smitten by a woman in the bedroom that he would tolerate all kinds of bullshit. But maybe it's because women, and I was talking with somebody recently about this actually, maybe because women they do feel sex for them is just way more impactful. To be honest, it's way more impactful. So perhaps that's why they run the risk of falling head over heels more. But ask these dudes real questions and don't let them slither out of it, man. When they like just sitting and you asking them like, I don't know, man. You know, shit. Well, don't let them get away with that shit. Don't let them get away with this shit. I'm kind of fucking shit up because every dude I know who ever talked like every dude I ever met who acts like a classical dude who a classical like just emotionless brute kind of guy where he's like shit. When I talk to their ass, they ain't like that. They really get to talking about shit. They really got answers. They really think. They not as simple and stupid as you think they are. And so what I'm saying is, ask questions. And if if they are tap dancing out of it, then that is a red flag. And yeah. And don't be so ready to attack though, and don't be so prepared to find something wrong that they're giving you an answer and you don't even like that answer. Like, just try. We gotta be reasonable, man. Ask questions, consider them reasonably, rationally, and ask another question. Questions. I tell you, boy, it boggles the mind how people get engaged, they get married, and they don't know each other. They just don't know each other, man. And don't get caught up, I guess is what I'm saying. But remember, you have to know your own self. And this is not just a lofty idea. This is not just poetic words. You really got to know yourself in order to be able to assess somebody else. You got to be able to see yourself honesty to recognize somebody else's honesty. You got to be able to see yourself honestly. Did I say see yourself honesty? You have to be able to see yourself honestly to recognize somebody else, to recognize their honesty. You really do. I don't know any other way. If I bullshitted myself, I would not be confident in being able to analyze or assess someone's motives and their intentions, their actions, their state of being, and all that. I wouldn't be able to assess it. And I feel like I am good at that, but I only feel like I'm good at that because I'm just brutally honest with myself about my own bullshit, but also about my own awesome shit. It doesn't have to be a one-way street where you're just being honest about everything that's wrong with you. You could also be honest about the things that are good about you. I think I'm awesome, but I also think I have a lot of shit wrong with me. But I still think I'm awesome. And so, you know, it is what it is. Reality is such. That's reality. But I feel like this was horrible, and I'll try to do better next time. Hope you liked it. Or I hope this at least entertained you for a moment. Goodbye, my friends.